Why is that?
Weirdly lucky because I'm usually when there's like a randomized system and I get the chance to, I guess in quotes, gamble, or have to be lucky to be able to pull something good. I managed to pull some good things on Genshin recently, and I'm happy about that because it means I get to play it better than I would have done if I hadn't have done. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just happy at the minute because I'm lucky. Because it's weird, like it'll be all of a sudden like, oh, you know how there's that thing of like a bus won't come, but then two will come at once.
Yeah, like you're
Like it's
looking.
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
expect to do well, and then all of a sudden you've got two buses that come at once. So it's a similar type thing. I feel that's a very
yeah,
British saying. I don't think you ever hear Americans say that often.
yeah. I don't really hear Americans get public transport. To be fair, I'm
Yeah, I'm
sure
sure
they
they do.
do. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they get trains and stuff, but I never like. I don't
Yes,
really hear
yes.
nothing like London at least. Like you don't hear people
No,
working in
no.
San Fran talking about the tram every day, do you?
I feel like the only comparison for that is like New Yorkers with taxis. I guess it's like everything's Uber now, isn't it? So nobody really bothers.
Yeah, or well, they get the underground in New York, I think.
There you go, that too. Yeah.
Subway,
Subway.
Subway, Subway, not the sandwich shop.
Mm,
Do you mind, Jay, if I'm transparent with the audience for a minute?
go for it.
So I messed up. We lost about 20 minutes of recording of this show yesterday. So I've had a conversation with Jay about where I think the show's at. Asked him to give me any feedback, and I hope we had a good conversation. Or I think we had a good conversation. I hope he agrees. And we're now re-recording the episode, hopefully to make it better than ever. But
Yeah.
so we're gonna. So we're just gonna quickly go. Well, not quickly. We're gonna go over the things we covered before, but just cover them again, probably a little bit quicker, including Genshin update, which is what Genshin update from Jay's point of view from playing it, which we're going to talk about. Cyberpunk.
I feel like
rant again.
Cyberpunk is like the most relevant thing at the minute, really, isn't it?
Well, 100%, mate. Just put Cyberpunk on the title, it will get clicks. Yeah, 100%. So I think we're just going to go from there. What I will say is that I had a little rant to Jay about how I'm not really that happy with the launch lineup for either console this gen. And obviously, I'm saying that from a biased point of view, from someone who doesn't have a next gen
Oh,
console.
that's how we started that.
Yeah.
We spoke about that before, but I couldn't remember how that began. But yes.
Yeah.
Just briefly,
So
then we said basically the only good on the Xbox side, the only good launch was the original Xbox with like Halo.
Yeah.
And then all the PlayStation ones have been pretty good.
Yeah, they've been okay.
Like there hasn't been a really bad one other than maybe PS4, but even that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Because Bloodborne came out shortly after that. So
yeah, like the first year period.
Yeah, I'd say most of the good games for consoles come out in the first like year or two.
And then there's a bit of a lull for 2-3 years.
Yeah, there's like a lull for like maybe sometimes even like 4, and then right at the end, like in the last 2 years, there's always like really good stuff. It's really strange.
It's just weird. Like, why is it always that way? You know,
I don't know. Again, I think people just get comfortable, don't they? And they just sort of don't make good games. I guess I don't know.
Or make them as quick.
Perhaps. Or they're spending more time during that middle time to actually perfect the ones that are going to come out and be good in the last couple of years before a console generation dies out. So
yeah, true.
I wonder whether there'll be any like games that only come out on previous consoles.
So like Xbox One only from now.
Yeah, and then same with PS4, because they said they're going to be making games for the previous consoles and or next gen up until 2022. I think was the idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't imagine a game would do well just on the old consoles, would it? Unless it's a PS4 exclusive, maybe.
I don't know. I think it'd probably do well in the next 6-7 months, but then after that, it probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be as good.
Jay, I saw a news story this morning as I
I think I know what you're going to say. But
lazily, and I was like, I would love to get Jay's opinion on this.
Okay, maybe I don't know. Here we go.
Casey Hudson retired from bioware
Yeah, so
again.
this is it. I wasn't 100% sure exactly what this all meant. The only thing I
Yeah,
really know is that the production of Dragon Age 4 and Anthem is still going ahead.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's all still because we've been hearing this a lot. Like, didn't the Halo Infinite guy back out or girl? I can't remember who it was now.
Yeah, they swapped out the lead
Yeah.
team member.
So
Yeah,
we're
of
seeing a
that
lot of
project.
like shuffling,
Digging.
rearranging
Yeah.
of the cabinet, as it were. Um,
What a great analogy! The
things.
health minister's now
Yeah, yeah,
become the
yeah,
Brexit
yeah,
minister.
exactly.
Yeah,
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 it's all having a bit of a reshuffle of Parliament at the minute. But
hundred percent.
as with Parliament, even with a reshuffle, things tend not change much anyway. So you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, that alludes to my question, Jay. Right,
Yeah, go on.
Casey's left before,
He
and I can't
has.
help. Yes,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Right. Oh, I think he left after Mass Effect 3 before, and then joined before
Oh.
Anthem came out. Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that, or maybe after Dragon Age Inquisition, something like that. And then he joined right before Anthem came out, or a year or two before.
Okay.
So, my question to you, as someone who's interested in Anthem, someone
Yeah.
who's
Still am.
probably going
Yeah.
to play Dragon Age 4, someone,
Maybe.
and apparently a Mass Effect type. I mean, God,
I
that just
mean,
sounds
yeah.
so
I'm
scattered.
looking more forward to Mass Effect 2 than anything else. I'd say.
Or Mass Effect 5, right?
No. No. I mean, like when they do the reboot, or like not necessarily the reboot. They're doing like the HD remakes or whatever, aren't they?
Oh, the Legendary Edition,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wanna
Yeah,
replay 2 and then finish 3 finally because I never finished it. So,
sure. Yeah, so all that included,
yeah, all
what are
that
your
included.
thoughts? Are you worried? Are you this might
Yeah,
look, I don't think one person, commands as in makes a better game, per se, because these studios made up hundreds of people. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, companies aren't just gonna like have someone go and then it all of a sudden you know, not run well. Like I'm sure they've had things maybe in plan 3 or 4 months ahead. I think from future updates to these type of articles before we've had updates that say, oh, this has been planned for like months now. Because there was a thing about the Capcom, um, I think the Japanese Capcom fighting game guy had been around for like 20 something years, but he had sort of known that he was going to be let go essentially like a year before he was, right? He had to basically like pretend like it was his idea. So I think a lot of the times you'll get that. You'll get the companies who are like, they'll have a meeting and be like, look, we need someone new. Do you want to make it look like it was your idea or our idea? And then they'll sort of like, set
Yeah,
out a
have a little
schedule
discussion.
basically. They'll set a schedule and then it'll all sort of come to fruition. So was it just the one guy who left or two?
Two,
It was
I think.
two, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and the lead guy, I think, or one of the lead producers for Dragon Age 4, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
saw an extra thing added onto that to something like there was going to be some news about Dragon Age 4 in the next week or so. So they might
Oh,
be
okay.
doing that as just like a preamble to like get you thinking about Dragon Age.
Sure,
Like, look, one of
sure.
those guys is going, but we're going to show you some stuff to reassure you.
Yeah,
So
I
I don't
don't
know. It
like
all seems
that.
to sort of like come into alignment, as it were. So
Yeah, I don't like the idea of showing us just to reassure us. Like, just show us when it's ready. Don't show us because you think we're worried about it.
yeah,
Like, just
it's weird. Like, so I don't know how you feel about this, but there's a lot of games where you'll hear about something, and then there'll be radio silence for like 6 years, and then all of a sudden there's trailer after trailer after trailer, and you're like super hyped for this thing, like Cyberpunk or like
like Cyberpunk.
yeah, like those style of games where you just don't hear anything for years. Like, do you prefer that way of doing it, or is it like the way where like it seems the way with Dragon Age at the minute is they're starting to like just give us bits already. I feel like there's a lot of game companies are starting to give us too much too soon, and I don't know if that's a good parenting style, as it were. I don't know what else I can align that to, but
Great question, mate. So I think we've got three approaches here. I think you've got the Fallout 4 Cyberpunk approach, which are different, but
yeah,
essentially wait till it's ready-ish, show us the stuff, get the marketing train going. If you're Cyberpunk, you definitely didn't plan this many delays, but nonetheless, you get it ready, and the peak is going to hit arguably at the peak of hype, which is the plan, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got approach number 2, which is Dragon Age 4, which is announced it too early, and the hype just kind of fades away over time, in between time. And then you got approach number 3, which I'll call Death Stranding, which is you make the approach early, but you still deliver on time, so the hype kind of remains there the whole time.
You make a good point, actually. Death Stranding was sort of like the best of both worlds, because it was like, it was still mysterious, but he didn't, when he gave you something, it wasn't clear. It was still like under this sort of like mist or fog of like, I can see it, but I don't know what it is.
Exactly.
And I think that's what I prefer. I prefer like being able to look at something through some fog, to be like, I want to know what that is, but I'll wait. I'll happily wait to know. Like, I prefer that. I don't know how much. I'm hoping that after this next lot of Dragon Age 4 news, that we just don't hear anything for the next 2 or 3 years. Honestly. Because it's just you want to forget, like, you need to have a break from something sometimes to be able to love it again. Too much of a good thing. So, but yeah, to get back to how I feel about them leaving, like I said with my analogy before, any amount of moving around, things tend not to change too much anyway. Although I'm trying to remember if there's an example of where someone has left and it has affected the direction of a game. I don't think I can give you any examples off the top of my head, but I'm sure it has happened. But I don't know how much these people had a hand in the direction of the game. Were they actually like the directors of, like the actual like head directors of the game, or were they just sort of like other larger producer type people? I'm not really sure. So yeah, I mean, hoping that it's that nothing much is going to change. I feel like a lot of these people are the kind of people who have also been around a long time, so they're sort of like, they usually, these people, usually these type of people who've been around between like 7 and 15 years, maybe longer, they tend to get quite bored of the same thing over and over again. So they'll either move to a different game company and just have something fresh because it's what they want, or they'll just like quit and maybe like go into some sort of, I don't know, something else in the gaming world. So
go into rugby.
whatever it might be. Yeah. So
Mate,
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm still fairly. I don't think they didn't. I want to hope they didn't leave because they saw the game crashing and that they thought, oh god, I might as well get out now and not have my name tainted by this train wreck in 3 years. I doubt people are that forward thinking, especially people who make games. I don't think they're that forward thinking.
Yeah, I hope they didn't leave for that reason.
No, it'd be silly. It would almost like be like a captain being the first one off a ship when it's sinking. If you're the captain, you sink with the ship. You hold your hand on your heart and you just sing on your way down.
Yeah.
Hook in the air. This kind of stuff. That's what you want.
Mate, great. An analogy I'm thinking of in regards to directors leaving the game and then the game suffering from it. I don't feel like we'd know because we don't know enough about the behind the scenes. But an example in another industry that comes to mind is Ant-Man with Edgar Wright, right? Where he leaves, and I think it affected it, whether negatively or positively, I don't know. But you can definitely see the effects of that. But like games, I can't. But go on, I feel like you've got an example.
I have a better one. I feel like this is a lot more prevalent in movies. I have a very much better one. Zack Snyder with Justice League.
Right.
He had to leave for very serious family reasons halfway through, and Joss Whedon took over and completely buggered it up. I think even Kevin Feige had a hand in it as well at some point.
Really?
Like a very minuscule hand
like to
in
help
it.
out?
Yeah, just to be like, look, the Marvel films did well. Let me just give you a bit of a tip here. And it did not. I think if anything, he probably like maybe told him something that he shouldn't have done. So this is why I'm very excited about the Snyder Cut next year, because it's going to be all him. It's going to be like, I think it's going to be like a 3-parter. It's going to be like a trilogy as well. They're like 2 hours long or something. It's going to be like Lord of the Rings.
420-minute Snyder Cut.
I can't wait. Honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Black outfits, but Superman. It's going to be all sorts. I can't wait. Reshoots.
Man, I hope he pulls off the landing. I really do.
I mean, they already did the reshoots, didn't they? So I can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be good. But yeah, I feel like you can't make that kind of comparison as much with games, but with films, if we can compare the two, we've got at least one good example. So,
Yeah, no, great
again,
choice, mate.
for most of these arguments we ever make on this show, it's always like, we don't know. Let's wait and see. And then it's just like, well, that's another thing. You made a good point about us not knowing in the past about what goes on behind the scenes. But I feel like in this age of technology and social media and
News,
news and
yeah.
media, we seem to be getting more and more included in the behind the scenes stuff, which might not be a good idea. Because I think there's definitely a danger. There's a level of danger in knowing too much. Ignorance definitely is bliss, and I've learnt this lesson way too many times for me to ignore it anymore. Okay, and I'm only 25, and I've already learnt this lesson like a bloody million times over. Ignorance
Yeah,
really is bliss until it hits you in the face, clearly.
yeah,
So yeah, we'll wait and see. That's like my other
yeah, and
hashtag. We'll wait and see.
yeah.
The other thing I
All
say
right,
a million
mate.
times over.
So do you want to take us through Genshin quickly, and then maybe we'll move on to
Yeah.
Cyberpunk
So
stuff? Tell the people
Genshin,
about Genshin.
new character I've been looking forward to for a while. I actually finished the story to do with that character today, so I now know exactly who that character is, which made the story and the character even better for me. A lot of anime cutscenes, it felt like it was awesome. A lot of cool boss battles I finished today and last night, so that's pretty cool. There's actually going to be an even better update on the next one in the next 2 weeks. That are just going to, a lot of quality of life stuff. Basically, a lot of stuff I've been asking for since day one that they've just now thought of. So
Is that
yeah.
update 1.4?
No, so we're only on 1.1 at the minute. But 1.2
Oh,
is coming in the next 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, I want to say. So, and they're adding,
okay.
so like, this game is not going to go away anytime soon.
And I saw, Jay, did you have a thing saying it's like the biggest
Yeah,
free to
so
play on mobile?
it's one game of the year on Google Store and Apple Store. So
Wow.
it is game of the year, mobile game of the year, essentially. It's made $400 million on mobile, just on mobile. So if you combine that with
Wow.
what it's made on console and PC, it's probably well over a billion at this point. It also makes $6 million a day just on mobile at the minute. It's sort of at a steady 6 million a day, which is pretty bloody
Jeez.
ridiculous. Um, I think if the US had any idea what was going on, they'd probably take it off of the App Store straight away, because we're basically funding the Chinese, is what they'd probably think.
Are they bought
But
by TikTok? Did
I,
TikTok
I
own
feel
them?
like
Should we ban them?
not enough people, even though it's making this much money, it doesn't seem as mainstream as what actually it's gone fairly mainstream, like in the sort of like streamer YouTuber world. Like I feel like it sort of blew up. It had its moment, and it's still kind of still blowing up. Like there's a good comparison I can make with, like, okay, let's say they said comics are dead basically. Like Marvel and DC comics are pretty much dead at this point, and the one of the biggest reasons for that is movies. The movies have sort of killed off the comics, TV shows as well, but also the anime and manga has basically taken over comics. There are more young children reading manga than there are comics now. And I think a lot of people are getting mad at that. And the thing I can make the comparison to is Genshin is basically the manga anime equivalent of what the Avengers probably should have been, which is the Avengers should have been making a lot more money than Genshin is, but Genshin's made way more money than it will ever Avengers will probably ever hope to make, and it hasn't been out as long. So,
And it's free to play.
and it's free to play, so it's even better. It's ridiculous. I mean, this game is just as good in free to play as it is with paying money. It's just as good. Like the comparison is great. So I think, I'll be playing. I'm glad that I'm playing the game again, and I'll be playing it for the next 5 days or so, as much as I can, because there's a lot of grinding to be happening in the next 5 days. So I'm happy about that.
Talk about knowing something before it hits. You talked about this game when it was like
I did.
not even out.
I spoke about it. I want to say. Well, I've been following it since 2018, so before the show started, and I think I actually spoke about it even on the first or second episode of the podcast. I was like, "Yo, this Genshin in a year is going to be sick," and then I said to you, "It's a mobile game," and you were like, "Nah." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah,
just wait. This game looks sick,"
yeah.
and it did. And the character that they showed off in that trailer hasn't even come out yet.
Wow.
But it is a character in the story, so we've seen the model of the character and what they can do. So yeah, good things. This game has got some longevity. I can't wait to see what happens in the next year. It's going to be good. The story, again, they're bringing it out in episodes as well. They're doing it like episodically, so each main story mission lasts about an hour or two, and they bring one out. They bring like 2 or 3 out every month or so. So it's not bad. It's basically like free DLC every month, but you just keep getting new ones, and they add more characters. It's brilliant. It does cost a lot of money though if you want to get these new characters, and if you're not playing it every day, you have to be playing it every day.
Mm.
So yeah,
I'm
it's
super
out on that.
glad. I'm super glad it's getting a lot of money, mate. I really am. I think it's another Warframe success story, so it's really cool.
I say yeah, this is like a mixture between Warframe and Destiny. Like it's really sort of hitting
Mm.
that sort of free to play. Even Fortnite or like PUBG and these kind, free to other kind of free to play things. So yeah, it's definitely having a moment right now, and it's lined straight up with the whole anime manga thing as well. It's like really, you'll start seeing a lot more anime and manga influence in Western culture and civilization. Especially they've done it with Fortnite now as well. The latest Fortnite update has an anime character model that you can play as. It's like it's infiltrating the crap out of the Western world right now.
Mm.
And it's even come up in the whole like I think I spoke about it before. I don't know, maybe 20 episodes ago about like censorship and like Sony are trying to censor all the sort of Japanese, more like lewd type games or whatever, even though they aren't that bad. Just to sort of like please the I don't know SJW progressive type people, I guess. Even though they
Yeah,
aren't even
I've
the
seen.
audience, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I've seen that censorship. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
strange. But there we go. I'm sure Again, we'll wait and see.
The anime taken over. I feel like that's been 15 years in the making, to be honest.
It's been happening since forever. It's just only really taken off. It's sort
Last
of become
5,
mainstream in the last maybe even like 2 or 3 years.
sure.
So yeah, I
I
think
feel like you've got a
Gen Z
combination
sort of
of
have taken it for themselves a little bit, honestly.
yeah. I feel like you've got a combination of K-pop,
Oh
anime,
yeah, you're right.
manga,
K-pop is definitely a big
like
thing there.
all of
100%,
it's just
yeah.
come
J-pop,
together in
all
this
that stuff.
one, like
It's an
Attack on
aesthetic as well.
Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that you can watch it a lot easier now. You didn't used to be able to watch it as easy. The
Mm,
accessibility of it, the fact that it's on Netflix now. I think Netflix is
huge.
probably one of the biggest reasons why people are watching it is because they've got English dubs on there. And a
Definitely.
lot of people in America, especially, don't want to listen to that Japanese crap, but they'll happily listen to it in English.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever it takes, really.
Defo. All
Hmm.
right, mate.
Do one of your things. I
Cyberpunk.
want to hear what you're talking about. We'll come back to
Okay.
Cyber.
All right. All right. So I've been playing Skyrim.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised by this because I had a bit of a moment, didn't I?
What do you mean?
Like
Sorry.
a few weeks ago, I think just before,
Yeah.
like on the lead up to the release of AC, I was like, I need something. Just let me play
Yeah.
Skyrim for a couple of hours and just like remind myself. Which is weird because I didn't think you'd come back to it so quick. Like I feel like you spent so much time on it. I'd want
Yeah.
a massive break from that if I were you. But
Yeah, so basically, I'm only playing it because I'm getting quite into Critical Role, and it is the perfect
that's like D&D,
accompanying.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
big voice actors playing D&D, basically.
Hmm.
The likes, and I mean, like some of them are, Laura Bailey
Mhm.
and Ashley Johnson are like, two of the biggest actresses out there right now.
Yeah.
So that is the perfect accompanying podcast show, whatever, to Skyrim, basically. So I'm just playing Skyrim in the background, and as I'm listening to that, and it's a very
Oh, I
easy
see.
to and fro kind of
Yeah.
thing. No, I'm not going to bore you with Skyrim details, mate. Only that I want to
I was
have a
gonna say,
pro.
what could you possibly be doing on there other than starting a new thing? Because I feel like you've done everything right on your old save or whatever.
So yeah, so basically, I've done everything if you include the old save and the new save, but I haven't done everything on one save. So I want to get
Oh,
that done on this save,
okay.
and I'm fairly confident I can do that. I'm getting to the
Um,
point now where I can kind of see the end goal in terms of right, that guild quest, that side quest, these locations, and then I'm kind of cool. I'm also playing it like better than I ever have. Like I'm getting loads of skills to 100 just like that.
yeah.
Just yeah,
Do you feel like
yeah.
it's almost like muscle memory at this point?
A little. Like I've
Yeah,
learned
like
how
you
to
don't even
play
need
the
to
game
try.
properly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean like the combat's whatever, but like truly, Jay, talking to you has helped so much with how I play games.
Why is
Like
that? How have I influenced you?
so you helped me break down.
I love this.
You,
I love watching you like the gears are turning. That's great.
you helped me break down that barrier of your playthrough doesn't need to be perfect.
No.
Just play the game and just go with the flow. Stop worrying and OCDing about every single tick box, every single quest. Just go with the flow. Just go with the
It
flow.
slows you
Like,
down so much having to worry about
so
that stuff.
much.
I feel like
So
it helped me enjoy Assassin's Creed more. Like not having to
Odyssey.
worry. You're both Odyssey and Valhalla. Like not having to worry about the achievements until the end, really. And even then, I wasn't that fussed. So I'm going to try and do the same with Cyber. I'm going to try and like, I'm going to have plenty of time to play this thing, so I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all.
Well, to be fair, mate, if you're doing 3 playthroughs, that first one, you can just not even look at the trophy or achievement list, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I could probably play all 3 playthroughs and probably have most of it done by then, just by accident. Honestly, I think as
100%.
long as I get the story ones out of the way, then I haven't got like the miscellaneous stuff can come whenever. As long, I mean, again, if you can play the game, once it's finished, I guess you can just mop up whatever you need to at that point, and that goes for any game, Skyrim, AC. Like now, as soon as you've got everybody like skill tree thing, or like
Yeah,
you're
collectible,
maxed out,
whatever.
there's not really
Yeah,
much point in worrying about it while you're getting there. You might as well get there and then worry about it. Cross the bridge when you come
exactly.
to it, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that should be the case for every game, but unfortunately, there are missable achievements because games suck.
Yeah,
So,
they should get rid of that. They should bloody outlaw that. So you feel like you've been helped then to sort of get over something a little bit. Is there a bit of an awakening or like a click or what? What was the exact
oh
emotion,
yeah, mate.
feeling, and all this stuff?
Revolutionized my
Revelation.
way of playing games. Truly,
Okay. How do you think it's going to affect you from here on out?
I think it's going to make me a faster gamer. Though you probably disagree.
See, I don't know.
Go on.
Would you say that is beneficial to you though, to play slightly quicker than you usually do?
Yes, because I'd bore myself out of it.
Because I was going to say, like, even at my speed with the 90 hours of AC, I felt
Yeah,
somewhat bored at some points.
yeah,
So I can't imagine what it's like playing at your speed and trying to enjoy that. Like I'd find that for me, a lot of the time, gaming isn't about speed necessarily. It's more about efficiency. It's more about making sure you get things done primarily in the most efficient way possible, and just so that you don't feel like you're rushing or that you're being too slow. Because I feel like if you try to not prioritize, you tend to either feel like you want to rush or you actually are just deliberately going too slowly. So it kind of happens that efficiency tends to mean somewhere in the middle. It just happens to work out like that. I don't know. I think that's where my level of OCD helps me. It kind of benefits me, and like I'm more about efficiency than anything else. I don't know if you ever think like that. Do you? Like, is it
yeah.
anything? Is even? I mean, it probably would be somewhat efficient to maybe try and get achievements as you're going through it on a game. But
Sure.
you kind of have to weigh again. Like, do I do it when I'm half leveled, or do I do it when I'm full leveled, where I know I could probably get it done quicker anyway? So again, I'm constantly thinking, right, what's the most efficient? Like it's almost like that apex of it, right? Okay, see, you know what a racing line is, like an apex in a corner.
Yeah.
So like in F1, or if they're turning right, they'll come into the corner on the far left, and they'll make a sharp turn right into the corner, and then they'll exit on the left hand side outwards as they're going. So they'll do like an apex, they'll do a racing
Yeah.
line. I feel like my level of gaming is that racing line. You approach the most efficient way, you get through the corner the most efficient way, and you exit the most efficient way. Just efficiency. J, efficiency.
Goldilocks efficiency.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm all about it.
I'm definitely thinking of how to do things efficient, right? I'm not like when I'm playing a game, I'm not going like as slow as possible. I'm not going, oh, I can do that while I'm here, but I don't want to. Like I might do
Yeah.
that if
See,
it's story.
I feel like you didn't used to be like that though, right? Especially when it came to Odyssey. Like for me, like you were saying to me, if there was a location, you had to go to it.
Correct.
But that's not the way anymore.
But to me that's efficient because I'm already there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know what you
So
mean.
I'm getting
There
it
is a
done while I'm
balance. There's a
there.
balance. There's a balance. I did that in AC. Like if there was a collectible on the way to a next part of the story, I'd do
Yeah.
that collectible on the way
Yeah.
as much as I could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's
Like
definitely a balance.
you're not gonna go 300 meters off the beaten path, you
Yeah,
know.
if it's like in your line, like as the crow flies, you might as well go that direction.
Yeah, literally, as the crow flies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
There
100%.
is a balance. Everything's about the balance.
Yeah.
50.
So definitely changed my way of playing, and we can probably talk more about that later. But also, just carrying on with Ghost. I don't want to get you
Yeah,
excited.
so
Nothing much
you
else to
said that you
report.
haven't really done much else since the last time we spoke.
Correct,
How many
mate.
more
Correct.
hours? Like 5 more hours? 4?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Still on
yeah.
the second island or on the first?
First,
Still on the
still
first.
fast,
Jesus, yeah, you're going
fast.
to be playing that a long time.
I know, I know.
Oh,
I'm literally up there sitting like, man, Jay would be so disappointed at the
no, it's fine.
playtime.
Honestly, I'd rather you play it your way, and your way being your level of
Thorough.
enjoyment. Not even that. Like you can get rid of efficiency if it means you can enjoy the game more. That's just more
Sure.
my style. Like the way I enjoy the game is almost like mastering it in my own way. Becoming the most precise, but not precise to like an OCD level, but precise to like a more natural level. Like I feel it's like a good life lesson. Like if you're gonna do something, do it the way you want to do it. No, like perfection isn't necessary. Like it really isn't. Like something done well doesn't mean it's going to be good. It's going to be worth it as long as you do it well enough. If you half-ass it, then don't bother. Don't go into anything half-assed. It's not worth
So, how do you deal with it, Jay, when you're playing a game like Valhalla
it.
and there's moments like where you just want to stand there and look at the graphics? Do you still have those moments, or is efficiency
Yeah,
continuously
no, it
going in your
happened.
mind?
It totally happened. There's a number of times where I thought, oh, the sun looks really good coming out over that like hill or mountain right now. I'm gonna take a photo, and I did that so many times. So yeah, no, I definitely took the time to appreciate what I was looking at, and I'm going to need to do that a lot in Cyberpunk too. So
Yeah,
gonna be a lot of
yeah.
good things to look at, definitely.
A quick question on Valhalla.
Mm.
Because of where the game's setting and the aesthetic of it, is it like when you're walking around England or Norway or wherever, is it like walking in the woods in winter?
It's just like walking in the woods.
Okay.
A bit of both, honestly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
it was strange. It was
I really
yeah,
like the idea of that aesthetic.
a lot of like low level rock walls that you constantly have to jump over, which was annoying. But other than that,
Okay.
it's just like it's a little bit a mixture between Odyssey as well because there was a lot of Roman ruins everywhere,
Right, right.
as there would be in England because obviously the Romans had their way with England at one point. So
Yeah,
there's going
have
to be
have
relics.
their way.
There's going to be relics. It was weird. There was like a weird level of Odyssey mixed with England. It was very strange, but yeah. No, it was the
And
aesthetic was great. Yeah.
you haven't played much, right, since we last recorded, I don't think.
No, I've played 4 or 5 hours or so.
You finished the end game stuff, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I've literally the only thing I've got to do is finish leveling up the main town that you build. Essentially, is pretty much it.
Uh-huh.
That's all I
Uh-huh.
got to do. I haven't
Okay.
even done that, but I can't be asked to finish it. Bit of an effort.
Is it a bit of a grind at
No, I
this
feel like
point?
you'll get to pretty much the last level by the time you finish the game. I've only
Oh,
got to
okay.
just grind for like a few more supplies to level it up. That's all I've got to do.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So going back to Cyberpunk then.
Yeah.
So tell all, Jay. Tell all. So
Okay, so
yeah, go
where
on.
I'll start with I have downloaded the game.
Woo!
It is on my console. The only thing that isn't on my console is the
Oh.
day one patch, the day one update to make it work essentially. So 60 gigs, rough like 59 gigs or whatever it is downloaded. Did that last night. Yeah, so all we've got to do is now is another 12 or 13 gigs worth of update, and then I'll be able to play it. But that obviously won't be until the night of the 9th or the morning of the 10th. So a little while to wait for that. I think there was supposed to be some news on DLC prior to
Hmm.
launch, but because of the delay, they're now leaving it until after launch. So I reckon within the first month of the game being out, we're going to hear about the DLC roadmap, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Like we're just going to hear about DLC because apparently there's going to be a lot of free DLC with Cyberpunk 2.
No doubt.
There's going to
No
be a
doubt.
mixture. I can't remember if they said that it was all going to be free or if like a big chunk of it was, and then the paid stuff was going to be like the equivalent to like the Witcher level of DLC. So yeah, there was a
Yeah.
warning. There
Yeah.
was a warning of streamers streaming it early because the game was potentially going to be given out to streamers maybe a couple of hours before a few people. They're basically saying, look, don't try and jump the gun because we're going to DMCA the crap out of you. Basically, we're in a copyright strike here or whatever they're going to do. I don't know if they said that exactly, but it was like one of those like it was one of those terrible. It's become a bit of a meme now. But whenever you see a yellow background with black text, like look out basically because Cyberpunk have got a delay coming. Like this kind of like scary.
Oh
They've
right,
almost like
yeah.
conditioned us to be scared of the color yellow and black now. So yeah, that style of warning came up with like a yeah, streamers beware kind of thing. So
I
I'm glad
think to
they've
be
done that.
fair, I think they did say they will come after you with a
Yeah,
copyright
no, I
strike.
wouldn't be surprised. And I think we spoke before about how we're glad that it's a global release as well,
So glad.
and
So
that
glad.
it's technically coming out at 6 p.m. on the 9th in America, which is midnight in the UK, which is technically the 10th. So it's technically still coming out globally the 10th. It's just it just happens to be the 9th in the west part of the world essentially. So, but we were saying before how games should all be global releases now. It just makes it fair, doesn't it?
Every game should do this.
Yeah.
Every game.
I feel like
Every game.
whenever we hear about there being a difference in release, it's usually a Japanese game or like a Nintendo game. I feel like Japan are very, I don't know, they almost kind of like have some sort of like loyalty to their own country, I guess, or their own side of the world. They tend to release things earlier, closer to home, and then let it sort of like if they get to wherever it gets to and the rest of the globe whenever it does. Like there's no real sort of like, oh yeah, it'll come to the west. It's like yeah, it'll get there when it gets there. Don't cry about it, kind of thing. But yeah, no, I feel like it should be a global thing. It just makes it fair for everybody.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, just look at the PS5. They released that earlier in Japan, didn't they? So,
I think so, yeah. And then also, obviously, it just makes it so streamers don't spoil it for anybody.
yeah, man. Like, they're saying, like, feel free to stream till you bleed dry from streamer fucking fatigue, right? But, like, they're saying you can't do it until we say so. And I just think it's brilliant.
And
You
the
haven't
fact
got
they've
it.
put like a load of things in place, like with the music as well. They said that all the music, apart from like 2 or 3 songs, are streamable, but the two or three songs won't actually be in game if you like toggle a certain thing. So you can put it into like streamer mode where those songs that are potentially
Oh,
DMCA strikeable won't
that's
actually
good.
pop up. So there's a lot more forward thinking when it comes to that now, which I'm sure a lot of people are happy about.
As a non-streamer, Jay, I know you watch some streamers.
Yeah, I'm definitely
How do
part of
you,
the Twitch world. Like I'm part of that community, even though I'm not a streamer myself. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
how do
involved.
you feel? How would you feel about your first playthrough streaming live to people around the world, trying to entertain as you play? How do you feel about that personally, that idea?
What if I started streaming?
Well, as in you had to stream your first playthrough.
What if I was forced to stream my first playthrough? I wouldn't be too fussed about it. I don't think. I think I prefer experiencing things first on my own. Like that's just me. Like if I watch a movie, I tend to want to do it by myself. Like if I'm ever going to experience something with someone, it has to usually be the second or third time. That's just me personally. What about you?
Oh yeah, dude.
Are you like that, or are you? Because
Oh
again, it's like that sort of like emotional attachment to something, like thinking that you're the only one who knows about this thing.
yeah,
I want to be the only person who knows about it, so I'm just going to experience it by myself, pretend that it's just me who's playing it or just me who's watching it. I don't know
yeah,
if you have a
100%.
similar thing, but
Definitely, mate. I couldn't think of anything worse than playing my first playthrough of God of War 2
yeah,
in front, like on stream. Now, I know that there's an element of sharing your emotion there, but like you are engaging, participating in a piece of art that's been created for the last 3, 4 years. And I don't intend to make a
share it.
joke. Yeah, like, yeah, it's a personal thing.
It kind of is. It's becoming more that way for me a lot recently too. But I feel like that kind of like to me almost proves that a lot of streamers don't really care necessarily about the game content. They care more about the money they're making off of the content. It's more about
True
they
that.
know it's popular. They know a lot of people want to watch you play it specifically if you're a high level streamer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they worry more about, oh, I'm going to make bank off of this. Like they know their views are going to be astronomical.
Yeah.
So they don't actually care about the content of the game majority of the time. I feel like the people who do care about the content of the game usually revolve their actual stream or their YouTube channel around that type of game. Like a lot of Dark Soul or Demon Soul people who are playing it properly, their whole thing is the fact that they speed run those games or they play those games, collecting everything or this type of thing. Or they're like a solely a PS player or solely an Xbox player, this kind of thing. But and and it just shows to me a bit more level of care. But yeah, when you're streaming it and it's just for the money, it just seems a bit like disingenuous. And
And I'd
all
also
these streamers complaining about not getting a free console. It's like, dude, shut up! You've got so much money. I don't care what you say.
I kind of pity some streamers in the sense that they'll never get to
Smaller
play a
ones.
game like Cyberpunk by themselves. You
Oh
know,
yeah, no.
alone in their room, able to fully enjoy and embrace the world before them. And it's obviously their choice; they're loaded, whatever. But like, in a way, I pity that because there is something about playing a game on your own that you cannot capture when someone else is there or watching.
I do. I know what you mean. Actually, yeah, I can feel some level of empathy for that. But I guess that just comes with the territory, doesn't it? Like they're
Yeah,
never going to
yeah,
play that game first by themselves. I feel like a
exactly.
lot of the people who do that, though, a lot of people who stream games tend to still get the same level amount of emotional attachment to those games. Some do, some don't. It's hard to tell. I think a lot of people really still felt the way they do, like you probably did with Last of Us. I definitely saw that come across quite well, just because of how emotional of a game it is. Less so with games, I guess, like Dark Souls or Demon Souls recently, or like Mars Morales recently, or AC recently. Like a lot of those games, a lot of people only played it for like a day or two, and then they moved on to the next thing. Like it didn't really feel like it kind of stuck around. Whereas Last of Us felt like it was around for like 2 weeks. It stuck around, you know. So yeah, I think that it kind of depends on the streamer and the game, like whether or not they're actually like fussed about that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, just your environment. I feel like if you're living with someone, it's probably more you're probably more used to actually like in experiencing things with someone rather than yourself. But people like us who tend to want to do things on our own, and it kind of feels more special that way. Yeah, because we're used to it. It's strange to us thinking that other people do it differently to us. So yeah, I can see both sides of it. You know, and you know
Defo.
whatever floats your boat. But for me personally, and I'm sure for you, some on some level, yeah, it's there's an emotional attachment there, and it's more special when it's just you. Thing is, I can actually get that in a cinema, but because when you're in a cinema, you kind of feel like you're on your own anyway. If there's like no one really around you, it's a similar feeling. So
Yeah, definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
if you're playing a game in a cinema, I'm sure it'd be very different to watching a film. It's the length of time more than anything else. So
Nothing else to add to that. So, last thing on the kind of news front, Jay.
yeah,
Microsoft's rolling out, or rolled out probably at this point, an update to the Series X.
yeah, I saw
Now, I
that.
wanted to flag this to you for a couple of reasons. Firstly, they've added some dynamic background designs, which is cool. Some of them apparently are fairly like a nod to older Xbox consoles and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
they
I'll
are.
leave you
I've
to
seen
check.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I look forward to checking those out at some point. Now, the thing I want to talk to you about
Hmm.
was they get an auto HDR little button thing come up when it's used on a game, similar to how quick resume comes up on your TV on a game. So that's nice. But also, there's the acknowledgement apparently that there is an issue with quick resume on a wide range of titles. So I want to let you know that it's not
There
just
is.
you.
It's
So,
especially AC Valhalla actually. It's weird.
right.
There's so many like older games that work with quick resume perfectly, but a lot of these newer ones don't even like because there was a thing saying that they were guaranteeing that if you had your game running and you left it on pause and you went to another one and came back, that it would have made a save for you just in case anything did go wrong. But that never actually happened. So and
Is that with
it tends to
Valhalla
like
or in
yeah.
every game?
With me, it literally quit out of the game without even doing anything. I literally paused it mid game without actually saving, and then and like went to another game and went back to AC to see if the resume happened, and just quit me out of the game. And I had to restart the
But
whole
but
thing.
did that save thing, was that specific for Valhalla, or
I think
did
it
they
was supposed to be
say
for everything, but it just hasn't
right?
been like implemented. I don't know. It's weird. For some reason I thought this dynamic background was going to come day one, and I actually checked for it. I looked and went, "Where the hell are these dynamic backgrounds?" And then I didn't hear anything about it until I saw this and thought, "Oh, they're actually including it now." It kind of seems like everything's on a bit of a like a backlog. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
things they spoke about that said they were going to be day one aren't happening until like a month later, almost at this point.
You mean, Jay, you mean like the console's released too early?
Yeah, and the game's releasing too early.
Oh
Yeah, it's kind of what it
my
seems like. It
god.
kind of feels like the release dates we've been given are more towards stock holders and investors. They're more like just to keep them people happy more than the actual people or developers themselves. It's more about the money makers and the money keepers and the people with the keys or whatever. So
Yeah, dude. Valhalla arguably is the biggest title for the Series X launch day, right? Because it comes out the same day, right?
but it sold more on PlayStation 5.
Did it really?
Yes.
Did it really?
More people playing on
Ah,
PlayStation 5 than on Xbox, yeah.
well, PlayStation is probably more popular if
It
you
is
can
more
measure that.
popular. They've sold a lot more, yeah.
Have they?
Yeah, especially in Japan, outselling it like crazy. Which is actually weird because Xbox outsold the PlayStation 5, I think, on release weekend, but then like a week or two later it flipped. So
Sure, but aren't they all still sold out everywhere though?
yeah, I think PlayStation 5 had a restock yesterday or the day before
Oh
at
right,
Smith's in the UK, but other than that, I haven't heard anything else.
fair. I need to start looking really because I've just been so zoned out from it because I don't even want to.
Yeah, I
I've
feel like the
had
second you start to
yeah.
get your hopes up, it's going to make you just feel worse, honestly.
Exactly, and I've already tried 2, 3 times, and I like genuinely tried, and I've just been disappointed every time. So I
Yeah,
just
it's just
can't be
it's just a
bothered.
bad time
Yeah,
all
but
around.
anyway, what I was going to say was, Valhalla's this key title, and Quick Resume is arguably one of the biggest features of the Series X, and they don't fucking work on day one.
No, I think people haven't really learnt their lesson about buying consoles until like much later, I guess, because they tend to not work as well when they first come out.
But I
Um,
thought this generation was going to be different, mate. I got to
yeah, so did
say,
I, but obviously we're not quite there yet. We're not living in 2077 yet.
hey,
So, so yeah, I'm kind of glad these backgrounds are here though, and I heard something about that it was actually going to be like a whole sort of like what they've done with the PlayStation 5. They've sort of updated the actual console itself to make it run better in general. So I think that's what they're doing with the Xbox as well. I obviously haven't tried that out yet, but hopefully when Cyber comes around, I'll be able to notice it. Honestly, my biggest fear right now is tearing, game tearing, screen tearing. One night when I play Cyber, that's my biggest fear. If that
because it
happens, I'm
takes
going to
you
be
out so
so. Yeah, it happened in AC so much, it kind of pissed me off a little bit.
right.
So I
Okay.
kind of like don't want it to happen. But like, I think it was more of an AC problem, less of an Xbox problem. But hopefully these. I mean, there was an interview with. I've watched so many interviews with the cyber people over the last week or two. There was even one that was just in Polish that they translated like a week later, and they were saying how these last 3 weeks have basically, completely improved, and they've managed to fix so much in the last 3 weeks. So,
From
and
the delay.
I'm hoping one of those things was tearing if they ever had an issue with it. So.
Look, mate,
Honestly, I want no frame drops. I want no tearing.
yeah, especially after
Smooth
this many
sailing.
delays.
Smooth
Yeah,
sailing. Come on.
yeah. I'm really pumped for you, mate. I really am. I'm really pumped for you, and I hope it's
See,
really good.
I'm waiting for the get guidebook to come as well.
Mm.
Because I've bought like the collector's edition hardback one, and I don't think I'll need it. I don't want to be the kind of person to like flick through the guidebook as I'm playing the game. I kind of want to play it
Yeah, nah.
naturally.
Yeah,
I want to go.
yeah.
I want to sort of use it maybe in my second or third playthrough as a guide
Yes.
if there's anything I've missed or anything like that.
Or
Um,
options and missions and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm not. I don't think I'm actually too worried about it arriving on day one. As long as I get to play the game on day one, I'm not really fast. I'm more looking forward to just having it, owning a bit of like collector's merch, as it were. I've got my lore book. I'll get my collector's book, and then I'll also get the graphic novels in February next year as well. So,
Without giving me any detail, Jay,
mm.
I've seen about genuinely it's like 2 minutes gameplay.
I've watched like
Uh,
hours at this point,
um,
like way too much.
the you're gonna be like I'm crazy. The initial vibe I got was this is a super advanced futuristic Borderlands in the sense that it's an RPG first person
Kind
shooter.
of does feel like that, actually, like Borderlands, because there is like a wasteland aspect to part of the game. So yeah, I get what you mean.
Like as in it's a shooter, which I actually think a lot of people forget like early on like oh this is a first
Like it is
person
and it
shooter.
isn't. Right? I
Okay.
feel like they're really trying to push hard that RPG element. That it's an RPG first. Like if you're looking
Right.
forward to a game that has guns in it, I mean yes, but like it's more about the story and the I don't know.
Right. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
I care more about I'm really looking forward to just the loot aspect more than anything. Like the
Oh yeah.
story and the loot. I don't, as long as the combat is fine, I don't really care. I kind of like the combat. To me seems a little bit like how Skyrim probably first felt, like a bit
Okay.
jittery, but I'm sure it'll get fine later on.
See, I got the impression the combat was going to be way more impressive than anybody expected.
I think it will, but I think from what I've heard, it's sort of like story and
Fine.
RPG first, combat second, and then everything else third and fourth.
Okay.
So we'll
All
see.
right.
I don't want to say too much.
No, that's cool. Jay, you ready for Guess Who's review?
Sure.
Yeah?
So I'm guessing.
You are.
Okay, good. Let me bring up the scores. Make sure where we are.
Scores, please.
So it is 1919.
Yes, it is.
So we're
Oh,
even.
this is so easy as well. Ah.
Is it?
Yeah, really easy.
Yeah, but how many do you have prepared? Because I've still got 2 prepared.
No, I've just got this one.
Well, there we go. You need to be more prepared.
Oh, actually.
I'm kind of hoping
No.
that what you're about to say I haven't got ready. I'm really pissed.
I don't think so. I might have done this game before, I don't
We're about to find out.
I can't remember.
Find out.
I've picked out a random game review. Jay's got to guess the game from the 3 quotes that I've got. Quote number 1.
Okay.
Now, if you get it from this, I'll
be annoyed.
I don't know if it's too easy. I don't know if it's too easy. I need to phone a friend. Jay, how good's your memory? How good's your memory, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I have very selective memory.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
Just have a think about which one you're going to say first.
Oh, I have.
Because I've made that mistake too many times.
I know which one's last. I'll put it that way.
That's helpful.
No, because it's the easiest one. Okay, let's just go for it. Okay. Quote number 1. This is like out of the middle of a sentence. Dungeon crawling action RPG that takes place in a futuristic world where humans live alongside 3 other humanoid races.
Damn it, I should be able to get it from this so easy. Okay.
Oh no, he knows it!
Well, no, it could be a number of things. If it's a dungeon crawler, it could be. These aren't my answers yet, but it could be like a Diablo. It could be like a Pillars of Eternity. Although I don't think you would have guessed. You would have made me try to guess that. Dungeon Siege, which I don't think you even know about. I mean, I kind of have to guess Diablo. I'm going to go with Diablo first.
Are you going to say 3 or
Diablo
1?
3.
Incorrect.
Damn.
It's not a Diablo game. I don't want to guide you down the wrong path.
Oh, dungeon. Oh.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy with that
I think I know, but go on.
Okay.
We'll
Quote
go
number 2.
One. Go on, yeah.
Combat is in real time with the ability to do a standard attack with each weapon and then link several special attacks in the form of... I don't want to say this word because I think it's going to give it away. I'm not going to say it. It's going to give it away.
Wait, read the quote again.
How close do you think you are? Do you think you've got it?
Just read the second one again, and I'll see. I'll let you know.
It's a long quote. Okay, I'm not going to include the word, and then if you're struggling, we'll talk about it. Okay. Combat is in real time with the ability to do a standard attack with each weapon, and then link several special attacks in the form of X or X, allowing for them 2 to 4 ways to attack the enemies with each weapon. This is very specific.
Yes, extremely. Right, so my guesses are that this isn't my official, but in my head I'm thinking it's either like a Final Fantasy game, or it's like Mass Effect, or it's Dragon Age.
You are quite along the right lines.
Like it's one of those.
All right, I'll give you the words.
It has to be one of those.
I'll give you the words. I'll see if it triggers for you. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna, because I actually think you're along the right lines.
Well, I've either nailed it on the head.
You'll see what I mean.
No. Is it Phantasy Star Universe?
Damn it! I should not have given you those clues. I should not have given you.
You didn't give me a clue. Do you know what it was?
Go on.
When it was the fact that it was like each weapon, because you can change weapon during combat.
Yeah.
In Phantasy Star, but you can't in Dragon Age. I don't think you can in. I mean, you kind of. Actually, I think you can quick change in Mass Effect, but it wasn't as prevalent until the later games. So yeah, I can't believe I actually got that. That's pretty insane, right? So that was
Mate.
2 points.
Okay, so
That
the
was
words I
crazy.
cut out was link several special attacks in the form of photon arts or force spells, so they're
Oh,
game specific. And then quote number 3, journey to join the Guardians, an elite group of hired guns tasked with maintaining the peace and ultimately discover and destroy the source of the mysterious seed outbreaks.
honestly, I don't think I would have got it from that either.
Wow. I cut out Ethan
I'm
Weber on
I'm
that quote,
honestly
or Faber.
surprised that I even got that. I don't know what clicked in my head, but something clicked. I don't know. I
Mate.
don't know exactly what it
It
was. That
should,
was
well,
impressive.
I thought 3 other
Uh,
humanoid races would be a massive clue because, like,
wow.
it's so like in input, like every
Yeah.
planet.
Now that I think about it, because there's kind of like races that have they're almost like beasts. They've got like the pointy
Yeah, they're
ears or
called
whatever.
beasts. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There we
yeah.
go. Yeah, it's
I
been
think
way
they
too
are,
long since I played that game. I think if I'd
mate.
played that game in the last year, I probably would have got it straight away.
We need to play that game together. I don't think it
I
holds
mean,
up well,
Phantasy
you know.
Star Universe 2 is free to play, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
On
I keep
Xbox.
forgetting that.
So I might have to download that and see where we're going with that.
All right, mate.
Just quickly, this
Maintain.
Immortals Phoenix Rising thing.
Oh, mate. Yeah, sorry. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, so it
I haven't
came
really
out.
looked too much into it because I knew I wasn't going to be fussed about it. But I'm not sure
Yeah, sure.
what your line of thinking is.
Oh, I just wanted to bring it up, mate, to see if you checked it out because I just couldn't tell you how much I'm not bothered about
No,
this
I
game.
remember seeing it, like the trailer for it, when me and you watched the E3
You,
thing together, and I
yeah,
was like, I mean, it's they're trying to just capitalize off the whole like Greek mythology thing, I guess, right?
yeah, yeah,
It looks good. It's like a kids game. It looks fine for kids. It's not really for me. I'm sure
yeah. Me
there's
too.
levels. There's like deeper levels of it that are more mature, but I'm not really. I'm not. It's not for me. I'm not wasting my money on that right now. Definitely not. I
Ain't
mean,
nobody out there for
I'd
that.
rather buy Dirt 5 than that. So, which
Are you getting
I'm
Dirt
still
5?
very tempted to get, but it's way too expensive. It's like I
60
think
quid?
it's 60 quid for base and like 80 quid for special. So I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll
Okay.
wait until probably next year when it's like 30 quid or something.
Jay, you done any research on Borderlands 3 Season Pass 2?
I haven't. No, not massively. I've
Okay.
sort of like I'm like not really. I'm not really in that
You're
world at the
cyberpunked.
minute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Sure,
like
sure. No
Borderlands
worries.
is far from my train of thought right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
As much as I want to get excited about the new skill trees, I'm not even like I haven't thought about it at all.
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay.
So
So
we'll see when we get there.
next week, we've already talked about this,
Yeah.
but you're
So six
gonna,
days from now is Cyberpunk,
yeah.
and it's also the next recording of this potentially. So
Yeah, so I said, would Jay rather, or asked, would Jay rather record before Cyberpunk comes out so we can just play it? I
no,
think you said you want to play it and then
I'll
talk about
probably
it.
play it in the morning, and then we'll record as usual, and then we can actually like get a first hand day one talk of like, yo, this is what it's like in the first 5 or 6 hours or however many hours I get to play.
Mm,
Because
mm,
one thing I do want to say, I've been very efficient today. Back to the efficiency. I actually got up early and started doing some housework this morning.
nice.
I'm hoping to wake up a bit earlier and get more in the groove of actually being able to play in the morning. Because I've literally been waking up at 11 every day and not even being able to play an hour of a game. So I want to get more into the swing of being able to play at least an hour or two in the morning. Like more so I can do that when Cyber comes out. I'll be able to play it first thing. That's my plan. So
Sounds
I
good,
feel
no? Sounds
I
good,
feel like
man.
I'm sort of putting more effort into this than I am by the AC. AC felt like more of like an in between.
Well, I think, this is the most hyped game we've had in a few years, so, it's justified, I think.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, man. Nothing to report on my end, mate. Just old games.
I'm still surprised that you're watching Critical Role. I don't think of you
Go
as
on.
much of a D&D person.
I've never
I
got
find
into
it
it,
very
mate.
difficult to get into. I've tried really hard.
It is thick with 2 C's. I'll say that.
It's very like it's too RPG heavy for me.
It's very
Like
RPG
it's
heavy.
very. I feel like a lot of theatre kids like D&D
Uh-huh.
because it's very like theatrical. It's all voices and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
acting. It's all very like putting on a show and pretending, putting on a performance. Like if you really like, obviously there's probably some kids who played it when they're younger who didn't really do that as much. Like to me, it's kind of like that sort of like childish, like you got your mates around and you're pretending to shoot fireballs at each other, but you're now in your 20s and you're an adult and you're still doing it. Like that's kind of like it's not. I don't see that as like a bad thing. I just can't do that. I don't see myself doing it, so I find it very difficult to watch it. It's kind of there's like a level of cringe to me. I'm not saying that you can't enjoy it because of that. To each their own. But yeah, it's quite difficult for me to get into. I appreciate it. I've actually played it before when I was younger, but yeah, I appreciate it for what it is, and I do get it. I feel like if I don't know, I feel like that if there would have to be like a very specific either person playing it or a group of people playing it, or if it was done in a certain way for me to enjoy it. But yeah, I'm kind of like getting bored of that like fantasy style of RPG now. I'm sort of more in the sci-fi. Obviously,
Naturally.
with
Yeah, yeah,
Cyberpunk, like I'm starting
yeah.
to get. I think that's why I got really bored of Dragon Age before, because it was just
Right.
sort of like the same fantasy thing over and over again. And Skyrim, like it's all the same thing to me now. It's all very
Yeah.
boring. I'm kind of. It's almost like what zombies have become. I'm starting to not like it.
Ah,
It's like
interesting.
overplayed to me, which is why I'm a little bit worried about Elder Scrolls 6. I'm thinking, oh crap, I'm probably not going to enjoy
Mate,
it.
don't worry about that. That game ain't coming out until
Yeah, well, I'm
2026.
hoping that it doesn't come out for so long that I actually miss, fantasy RPG.
Yeah.
I want to
Mate,
not
you
play it
will.
for
You
long
will. That
enough.
reminds me of how I missed Fallout and then got into Fallout
Yeah, I've
76.
same problem with that. I hated Fallout for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
I really did. I got so sick of it. I played it way too much.
Well, because I've basically just got fantasy games. Well, Death Stranding and Control not fantasy, but
Yeah, they're more
they're not as
sci-fi. Yeah,
sci-fi. I think as Cyberpunk. So
no.
I'm the opposite. Like I'm into
Well,
fantasy at the moment, and then I'm gonna get into sci-fi for the Cyberpunk whenever that happens. So
hmm.
interesting, contrasting perspectives there, Jay. But I completely get why you're sick of fantasy. Like I get. I mean, if you played The Witcher 3, you'd be even more like, no, no, no,
Yeah, it
no.
kind of worries me about the new Final Fantasy 16, because that's supposed to be fantasy
Right,
as well, isn't it?
right,
Final
mate.
Fantasy, it makes sense.
Again, that ain't
Uh,
coming out until 2025. Don't
I don't
worry
know.
about it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I want to just forget about fantasy, so, fantasy RPGs for a while and just concentrate on something else.
The cyberpunk world, has it got an edge to it? Like it's remarkably different than Mass Effect and such.
You know how when we've played games for long enough, they seem to get smaller.
Yeah,
In my mind, Cyberpunk is now tiny.
because you know everything, right?
Yeah, I feel like I know a lot now. The world seems a lot smaller than I imagined it in my head, but I think it's probably going to be a lot bigger once I actually get there.
Sure.
Like I feel like like when you live in your own city and you sort of like know where everything is, it all feels like not that far away. But to people who are like from out of town, it's like, gee, that's miles away. You're like, nah, it's a 5 minute walk.
Yeah,
It's like that kind of thing. I'm hoping it doesn't devolve into that, but that's kind of where I'm at. So
yeah.
I don't know.
That's a great point. I feel like you get that eventually with every game you get to know.
Yeah, which is kind of a good thing over time because you then know where things are.
Yeah,
But
it's natural.
I'm not quite there yet with cyber, but I'll
Nah,
definitely
I'm
be
sure
there
when
at
you
some point.
start it, it'll be
You know
like
what?
a
My
grown up
fantasy
game.
is to not ever have that in cyber. To
Right,
like
right.
still not know where certain things are and have to like keep looking at the map to them. I want it to be so big that I'm like, oh, I don't know where everything is.
But
Sometimes,
you don't want to be overwhelmed either,
yeah,
I assume.
you want that Goldilocks
God, oh,
point. That's what you want.
oh. And we'll end it with that. Oh my
Yeah.
days.
Oh my.